Hi everyone. In this session, we'll be working on the list over here. So you can see that once I select a different category, we'll see different categories. We will leave this section for the next session. Okay, so we have already created the data model, and because of a mistake, we actually forgot a field, which is price. Each course should have a price, and we'll make that just a decimal, and I'll click OK, and that's just update. During update, the database tab doesn't have everything, but once it's updated, now you have everything. I have uploaded a bunch of seed data into the database. So we have 4 courses, 2 categories, 2 authors, and of course we have no account has course entries yet because nobody has bought anything. And I will be adding the price in here. So the way you update things is quite simple. You just do something like 32.09, and if you click away, that will get updated, and then you will see the uh, times changing here. And then here, if you do like 9.9, and the next one will do 29.9 and 19.9. Okay. How do we navigate this database thing? Fields like text or image, those are fairly simple. And if it's a very long one, you will be able to scroll. For example, this is a really long one. In Momen, there really isn't a limit in terms of how long each field can be. On the back end, the limit is somewhere around like a few gigabytes. So you would be, looking at billions of characters. But obviously, if you do have a billion character per field, uh, your front end is going to crash because your memory doesn't hold that much. But you know, as long as you don't put the entirety of War and Peace into a single field, you should be fine on the front end. Okay, so for images, you could just click them open and look at them. If you want to save them, just right click and do save image as. For videos, similarly, it will give you a player and then you can just play around there. Okay, and these fields are called foreign keys. So we know that this points to the category 2. So if we go to category, that points to this row, and that's category 2. And if you open it up, you can see exactly what it is pointing to. It's pointing to category 2. You don't have to go to there and go to the actual table to see it. And also, in category 2, you can see that it has a 2 here, but with a gray background around it. That means it's a count. It has 2 courses, and you can again look at which 2 courses it's pointing to. And if you just click on this arrow, those will be the 2 courses that it was pointing to. So what does it mean? It means category 2 has 2 courses, course 4 and course 2. Okay, so that's how you would navigate in the database, but you can also update. For example, instead of clicking the expand button, you can click this 3 lines thing, and that will give you all the categories in the database, and then you can then filter. For example, you could say the name is like, let's do is like 2. Okay, and that gets you the only one that has a 2 inside it. And that's, and then once you click onto the row, you can even do this expand thing. So you can look at the entire thing with a nicer view. But once you select that and you click confirm, we'll update it. And in this case, owners, this is a one-to-many relationship, and all you see here will be a bunch of uh, counts. Okay. And I've also imported a category, and I should get rid of this thing. And in author, I also have imported 2 authors. We have nothing in account. Nothing in account has course. Okay. So going back to here, we have a split. We have a left one and a right one. Okay. So how is this laid out? You can see that the bottom portion of it is actually contained in a large box itself. This thing is left to right. Okay. And then within it, you also have let's go down into here. Okay, so the left portion of that is actually made up of 2 things. Again, on the top you have like this selection thing, which we call selective view, and on beneath that you have a list of things, and lists are the most important uh, element to understand, and I'll explain detail here. Okay, and within that each cell of that list, then you got essentially a so let me expand on that. On the top, you got the cover image, and then you got the title of the course, and then following that is the price of the course. The right portion of that we'll ignore for now, but we'll place a placeholder there just in case that the layout gets messed up, because otherwise it's it's just kind of annoying. You don't have a thing to place hold for you. Okay. So, as I said, there'll be a box at the bottom, left for the layout, left to right. Okay. Forgot to update these images. Okay. So as I said, we need a box at the bottom. So we do an F and just lay that out. The width is going to be exactly the same as the top one. We want them to be completely lined up. So that's how we're going to do it. We'll do percentage, 100%, but with a maximum width of 1200. I think that's what we set it. 120 exactly. Okay. So now those two are lined up, and this thing needs a left to right layout. So we're going to do left to right, and it will be all stuck from the top left. And okay, so we need a box on the left for our select view, plus our list, and then a box on the right for whatever else. So now we need another box here and another box here. Okay, so this box on the right is going to have a width of 300, and this is just going to take up whatever is left over. The way you do that is do a fraction of 1, so it will take up all the space that's still left over, and this one is just going to be 300. Okay, and in terms of the gap between those two things, it's going to be 24, so we'll select a gap of 24 here. Okay, that's what we have now. And we will make this transparent, get rid of the background color. Now you can see that gap clearly. Okay, we won't be touching this view just yet. We'll just be, and also let's, for good measure, change the names here. Let's call that big heading, small heading. And this thing, we'll just call it, yeah, image is fine because there's no other image here. Okay, so this view, we call it content. In here, or maybe we call it like main section or something. Main section. And this one on here, let's call it courses outer. And this guy, we'll call it my courses container. Okay. Compared to this, we have this gap that's missing. So the way we do the gap is by putting a padding on its parent. So this guy can have a padding of, let's just put 50 over here. Now we have a padding there. And so that's good. And then what else is there to change? Okay, I think that's about it. So now all we need to do is start fiddling around with the course outer box. So going back to here, the course outer box has a select view on top with a bar and then a list at the bottom. Okay, so let's do that. We'll add in a select view. Again, if you don't know where to find it, you can always just search for it. A select view on top, and it should be aligned to the left top left corner. And then we have a little bar there. The way we do it is by actually putting this thing inside another box because you need a transparent box. Okay, so let's just do that. I should have done the box first. Okay, cut this, paste it in, make this thing 100% of its parent. So that will take over the entire course outer. And for the height, just to fit, and then also have this thing aligned to the top left. Now we just need a little, we just need a border on the bottom only. So 0, 0, 0, 1. And the border is going to be that grayish stuff. I think this is the one. Yeah, the grayish stuff. Okay, so it's looking somewhat like this now, except the uh, uh, the selected thing isn't exactly nice. We can go into what's known as focus mode, so we edit only the select view. So let's just do that, and you have to configure the selected state and then the non-selected state. Okay, so let's do that. So the selected state is going to come from something. Okay, the selected views item is currently empty. We need to configure its data source. So it's just coming from category. Okay, we're gonna do limit 10, but we don't even have a 10 with 2. So limit 10 is gonna be fine. We won't have any filter on it. At some point we will, but for now, this one we have no filters, and list field is only effective for matching the default value. So in this case, it's name, and then maybe we just do category 1. Okay. And then there's a couple of settings that you need to deal with. So do we want to do multiple lines? No, we just have a single line. Do we want to have multiple selections? No. Do we want it to be deselectable? No. And does empty selection mean represent all? Maybe, but since we don't allow you to deselect anything, so let's turn that off. and preserve selection on refresh. Okay, so let's turn that on. So if you refresh the list of you refresh the list that's behind the select view, you preserve the selection. But this is not even necessary. You don't exactly have to do that. Okay, so let's now expand this. This tag thing, we should do, this really should be the name of the category. So the way we do that is in component data, select view, item, name. Now, previously, once you selected item, there was nothing to select. The reason is at that point, we were using local data and it was just a text. In this case, item is the object, the entire row of category. So you have to tell this Momen which exact field or which fields you want to show. So we've selected name. Okay, so how does this look like in here? Let's open up mirror again. Okay, now we have category 1. You can see it there. It's showing category 1. What if we added something more? So if we did a space and we added something, let's say we would also include the ID of the select view. Now we'll see category 1, space 1. Now, what if I want to put that at the beginning? So we could do something like ID and then add a space. There is a space here. Okay, so this is how it shows up. I'm just demonstrating this to let you know that you can concatenate different things together. Okay. The color of this is black. It's the same black that we use in everywhere else. So instead of this thing, we're gonna use our little fancy black. We don't want any underscores, so get rid of that. Text decoration line, none of that. And is it thicker? No, it's not thicker. But we do, oops, but we do need a bar at the bottom. So the way we do that is by adding a border to the bottom. Again, it's 0, 0, 0 at the 2. And the black is, again, going to be the same black. All right. Going back to here. Now we have this thing. So that's, I guess, pretty good. But this guy has it across the entirety of that cell. So the reason we don't have that is because we had a gap. We had a gap, and actually we had a padding here. Get rid of the padding. Get rid of this. So we'll just get rid of that, and then the entire height will make it fit. And in terms of widths, doesn't really matter. Here we go. That's what we're looking for, okay? So this guy's width is 320, which that's the container, the outer container. So that's like this entire thing. We'll make it as wide as its parent. Okay, so that's as wide as parent. Now, this blank container is individual cells, so we will just make it say make it 120 pixels. And in terms of height, let's see, what height do we have? 100% should be fine. Yeah. And this again is the content is going to be the same, except it doesn't have a underscore. So it'll be name, and the color is going to be the same fancy black. And it's gonna be 16, 24. This guy is gonna also be 16, 24. Okay, so that should give us this. Okay, that's good, except the width isn't matching, so let's do that. 120, 120, 40, 40. This one's okay, so now we have the select view. Let's get rid of the background color as well. We don't really need that. For this one, we don't really need the background color, and we don't need the background color here either. You can have them. It doesn't hurt since the whole thing is white. So white on top of white is fine. Let's make it slightly taller. I think that was what I had before. So let's make it 44. Also make this 44. Okay. Now we need to get rid of the background at some point, but for now it will do. Let's exit out of this. Okay, looks good. At the bottom, you do need a list. In this case, we'll just do a list and it'll be a horizontal list. And this thing's gonna be as wide as its parent. For height, actually, we do not use that. We have to use a horizontal list. This is somewhat unfortunate, but such is life. Height has fit, and then we will so I'm gonna undo this for now. We need to have multiple. We have no indicator dots, no paging. Can I do multiple rows? No. List. Scattered column number. Well, let's do 3 regardless. Make that 100%. Just fill the entire thing. The vertical spacing, let's make it 30, so there's some gap in between those things. Horizontal spacing 25, that's the gap between those. Okay. Okay, so let's do 100, and this one will be fit 25 in gap horizontally and 30 vertically. So refresh, we never go to the top. So that's good. And let's add some stuff in here. We need an image on at the top. And then we need a text field and another text field. So let's just do another. Okay. So this thing's height is gonna fit the entire stuff. Okay, and in terms of layout, it's gonna be aligned to the top left. The image, we're gonna just set it with a fixed height. So this will do 100%. And the height will just do 180 pixels. That draws it out. And we haven't selected its data source here. That's why we have this error collector, which is, it complains that this particular component has no data source. If you click on it, if you were somewhere anywhere else, if you click on it, it would take you to that particular component. So you go to data, select your data, select your component, and here we're gonna configure its filters. Now, we only want to show courses that has the selected category. So This is how we do it. You open up, you add a filter, and you say, okay, I want the categories, we want the courses categories ID equal to the select view's ID. Because the select view has a category behind it, right? So if you're actually selecting a category, so that category's ID is equal to the course's category's ID. It's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it, you could say, just say category, category. That is where we store the foreign key, by the way, is equal to the inputs ID. Those are equivalent, so this is going to, these are completely identical. Either way you want to do it's fine. I'm just going to do the categories ID is equal to the selected categories ID. Okay. And let's go back. I think we will give it a few names. Let's rename this to um, category selector. Okay, and then these thing we just call, this is a default, this is, category name or something. And same with that guy, it's got a category name, selected default, looks good. View, we just call it category selector wrapper. Okay, so that's done. And this guy, image, let's call it the course cover image. And instead of uploading something, you would bind it. You would select data binding. That allows you to bind it to whatever visible image. So let's go to in component data. That corresponds to whatever course that field represents. And you go to cover image. All right, so that is done. And list, we just call it course list. List item, we call it course item. So this one we will call it course name. And this one we shall call it course price. Okay. And for this course name, we will just select, again, in component data for the course list, and then you go to the college title. Okay, so that's there. And the next one is the price. We have a dollar sign, and then the course list, the course's corresponding price. Okay, and then let's just change a couple of fonts. That's let's do 16 and medium, and align it to the left. Doesn't matter too much in this case, but good practice. Also medium. And line to the left. For the colors, they are all that fancy black, so the 1818 thingy. Okay, height, it's gonna be fit. Width, you can do fit here, or you can do 100%. It really doesn't make any difference. And we'll get rid of the background color for this guy, and we'll get rid of the background color for the entire box. Okay, so list is a fit, and the parent height, let's also do a fit, so that wraps it. And this guy's height is also going to be fit. Fit means that you are as large as your children. And we're also missing a gap between title and this thing. Couple ways of doing it. One is you could put these two things into a single view. So let's just do that. So a couple ways of doing it. One is in the layout, you create gap. So let's create a gap of 10. Now the problem becomes that the gap also affects these two elements, right? So the way to get around that is you would create another view. Yeah, it's actually easier than that. So just select those two guys, group them, and now they are in a single view. We call it the text, like course text content or something. And we will get rid of that. And we also make the view fit and fit. Okay. So this one will have to be fit and fit. Same here. This is one way of doing it. Now you got a gap here. The other way is just adding. We can also undo all this. Is by getting rid of this gap and adding a margin to the top. You add a 10 to the top, and that gives the same effect. In terms of performance, it's like slight advantage with fewer layers, but I wouldn't personally worry about it. So 16 is what I remember, and medium, and color is that fancy black. I have to do that all again, and let's bind it again. Pressing the slash key brings up the data binding menu, the drop down. If you want to keep that slash, just keep typing. So this is the title. This guy over here is a $sign with the price. And in terms of their color, it's again this and 16. Top right, plus Jakarta Sands. I think this was a medium too. Okay. So let's see how this works. Oh, we already have it here. Now you can see something's quite messed up because it keeps going to the right. Yeah. So how do we do this? The title becomes too long, right? So we can't be using fit. Let's do 100% and let's do multi-line. And now if we go to here, it's normal. Okay, so there's another thing. There's a little gap. There's supposed to be a little gap between the category selector and the actual list. So let's add that. We had this view here. What we can do is just by adding a gap between those two elements. The gap applies between its children. So 34 is a gap. That brings us to this. Okay, now if we select this guy, you can see that it's doing its thing. And then we have an issue with this layout here. For some reason, the margin for this thing got missing. Let's not do margin. Let's do a padding in the page, 68. That should be correct. Okay, it's correct now. We do have this font changing, so I probably have this configured. Oh, here we go. That's why it's light. We don't really want them to change the font at all. So let's make them all light then. Oh, oh no, that's a different font, Me Sense. Okay, so that's good. Nothing weird anymore. And one of the annoying thing is that you can see it's like not, you don't see the entire picture. because the aspect ratio doesn't match. So in order to fix that, we will change this from fill space to full image, and then you get this. I know why this looks odd, because I forgot to set the color. You do need this entire bar to have a background color so that when you scroll up, things don't cover, you don't see through it. So background color, and then we'll do just a normal white. Okay. Yeah, this is how it appears. And let's close that to compare. That's basically what you're seeing. Okay. Cool. So we have there's a little bit of shift in layout. That's because I didn't fully replicate all the layouts, so we'll keep it that way. And for the next session, we'll do the My Courses to the right. Thank you very much.